Every man has a secret fantasy he'll never tell you. He'll joke about it with his friends. He'll hint at it with his eyes. And sometimes you'll even see the flash of hunger cross his face when you come close to it. But he won't say it out loud. He won't look you in the eye and say, "This is what I want you to do." Because for a man, this fantasy feels too raw, too revealing, too vulnerable. And yet, it's the very thing he's secretly begging you to know, the Fei One oral technique that men fantasize about over and over again. The one that, if you learn it, if you bring it into the bedroom with confidence and playfulness, will make him look at you like you are the woman he's been waiting for his whole life. Now let's get something straight before we dive deep. This isn't just about a cheap trick, and it isn't about being someone you're not. This is about understanding the psychology of male desire at its core. Because when you understand why this one technique drives men insane, you unlock a part of his attraction that no other woman has ever reached. So let's begin with the first reason he secretly craves it. 1. The psychology of surrender. You see, men walk through life carrying the weight of control. Society tells him he has to be strong. His job demands he's always in charge. His role in the relationship tells him he has to lead, to plan, to protect, to provide. And so in his everyday life, he almost never gets the chance to fully let go. But in intimacy, something magical happens. When you take charge of him in this one specific way, when you use your mouth not just to please but dominate his senses, he feels something he doesn't feel anywhere else. Surrender. This isn't just about stimulation. It's about power. It's about you taking control of his pleasure in such a way that he can't fight it, can't hold back, can't think his way out of it. For a man, that moment is addictive. It's like tasting freedom for the first time. And the Fei One oral technique he secretly begs for isn't just about speed or pressure. It's about creating that sense of power transfer. It's about making him feel like his body belongs to you in that moment, like you could do anything and he'd be powerless to resist. Now, why does this matter? Because men don't want to admit this. He won't say, "I want to feel helpless." That would bruise his ego. But deep down, he wants a woman bold enough to take him there. He wants to be with someone who can pull him out of his head, strip away his control, and make him surrender in the most primal way possible. That's what this oral technique does. It's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you touch a man's psychology during intimacy, you don't just turn him on, you make him addicted. Think about it. How many women in his life will have ever given him permission to lose himself completely? Very few. And that's why when you do it, you become unforgettable. You become the one who unlocks his primal side. 2, the visual fantasy. Now let's talk about the second reason men beg for this technique, the visual. Men are visual creatures. They don't just want to feel something. They want to see it. They want to watch you in the act. They want to burn the image into their memory. They want to replay it in their mind for days, weeks, months after. That's why this oral technique hits them harder than almost anything else, because it combines sensation with imagery. Picture this from his point of view. He looks down and he sees you. He sees the way your lips move, the way your eyes look up at him, the way you hold him in your hands like he's the center of your world in that moment. That picture alone is enough to undo him. But here's the real secret. What he wants isn't just the act itself. It's the way you own it. It's the confidence in your eyes. It's the way you let him know without words, "I love doing this to you. I love seeing you lose control. I love being the one who can make you feel this way." That look, that moment is the part he craves, because in that moment he feels worshipped. He feels chosen. He feels like the only man in the world. And I can promise you, if you give him that experience, no other woman will ever compare. And let's be clear, it's not about faking it. Men can smell fakeness a mile away. It's about genuinely enjoying the fact that you have this kind of power over him. It's about letting your playfulness, your desire, your feminine confidence shine through. Because when you do, it shows in your eyes, in your body language, in the way you move. And that's what he fantasizes about. Not just the sensation, but the moment when he looks down and sees you completely immersed, completely in control of his pleasure. That image burns into him. It brands him. It makes him yours. So if you've ever wondered why men obsess over this more than anything else, this is why. It's not just the physical, it's the psychological surrender combined with the unforgettable visual. It's you showing up as the confident, playful, powerful woman who knows exactly how to drive him crazy. And we're only scratching the surface here, because next we're going to dive into the third reason this oral technique is his ultimate fantasy, the rhythm and anticipation factor. Why teasing him in just the right way, dragging out the moment, makes the final explosion unforgettable. But I want you to sit with this first. Think about it. Men aren't just turned on by what they feel. They're turned on by what they see, what they imagine, what they psychologically experience in your presence. And when you master this one technique, you're not just giving him pleasure, you're giving him the ultimate fantasy. Now that you understand the two secret layers, his psychology of surrender and the power of the visual fantasy, it's time to go deeper into the very thing that makes this oral technique unforgettable. And that's the art of rhythm and anticipation. 3, the rhythm anticipation factor. If there's one thing that separates a good experience from a life-changing one, it's the rhythm. Men aren't just begging for you to do it. They're begging for you to master the tease, to build him up, to take him to the edge and then pull him back until he feels like he's going insane. Because here's the truth, climax is never just about release. It's about the build up. It's about how long he has to wait. It's about how much tension you create in his body until he feels like he can't take another second. And the Phi 1 oral technique men secretly beg for isn't a one speed, one style action. It's a dance. Think of it like music. If you play one note the whole time, he gets bored. But if you play with tempo, if you slow it down, speed it up, pause, and then surprise him, suddenly it's a symphony he can't get out of his head. This rhythm is what drives him crazy, because when you slow down just as he's about to lose control, when you look into his eyes with that teasing smile that says, "Not yet," you're doing more than pleasuring him, you're controlling his body. You're building his anticipation to the point where the eventual release is 10 times more powerful. Here's what most women don't realize. Men fantasize about this level of teasing because it makes them feel desired. If you're willing to drag it out, it tells him you're not rushing to get it over with. It tells him you're savoring the process, enjoying watching him squirm, enjoying the way his body reacts under your control. And that's intoxicating for a man. Think about it. How often in his daily life does he get to feel that powerless, that undone? Almost never. But when you use rhythm and anticipation, when you play with him like a violin, he's not just experiencing physical pleasure, he's addicted to the loss of control. And here's the kicker: when you finally give him what he's been begging for, when you let him cross the edge, it's not just a climax, it's an explosion. It's a physical, emotional, and psychological high that he'll chase again and again with you and only you. This is why men replay these fantasies in their heads. It's not about the act itself, it's about the tease, the denial, the rhythm. It's about the moment when he thinks, "I can't take this anymore," and you decide whether he's ready or not. That's power. That's what makes you unforgettable. 4, the emotional anchor. But here's where it gets even more interesting, because you might be thinking, okay, so this is all about teasing, control, surrender, visuals. But how does this connect to love? How does this connect to intimacy? This is where most people get it wrong. They think fantasies like this are only about sex. But the truth, when a man begs for this technique, whether out loud or only in his mind, what he's really begging for is emotional acceptance. Let me explain. Every man, no matter how confident he looks on the outside, has a part of him that fears rejection. He worries that his deepest desires will make him look weird, dirty, or too much. He fears that if he reveals them, the woman he loves will think less of him. So what does he do? He hides them. He buries them. He keeps them locked away. And then when you come along and not only accept them, but enjoy them, something profound happens. He starts to associate this experience with safety, with love, with being fully seen and still fully wanted. That's why this oral technique becomes more than just a sexual act. It becomes an emotional anchor. In psychology, an anchor is when you attach a certain emotion to a certain experience. And when you become the woman who gives him this fantasy, not just physically, but with warmth, with confidence, with enthusiasm, he ties that memory to you. Every time he thinks about it, he thinks about you. Every time he remembers how incredible it felt, he remembers how safe and desired he felt in your presence. And here's where the real magic happens. He doesn't just crave the act, he craves you. This is why so many men can sleep around but still feel empty, because what they're looking for isn't just someone to give them pleasure. They're looking for someone who can give them that acceptance, that emotional safety, that moment of, you can show me all of yourself and I won't flinch. So when you use this oral technique, when you tease him with rhythm, when you let him surrender, When you give him the visual he craves, you're doing more than making him moan. You're building a bond. You're telling him without words, I see you. I want you. And nothing you desire scares me away. Do you know how rare that is for a man? Do you know how unforgettable that makes you? It's why he'll never stop thinking about you. It's why even years later, he'll compare every woman to you. Because you weren't just the woman who gave him pleasure, you were the woman who made him feel accepted in the most intimate way possible. And that, my friend, is the real reason this oral technique is his secret obsession. Now we've uncovered the surrender, the visual, the rhythm, and the emotional anchor. But there's one last layer, the final piece of the puzzle that ties it all together. And that's how you introduce this technique without awkwardness, without pressure, and without making him feel emasculated. Because the truth is, even though he's fantasized about it, even though he secretly begs for it, he'll never ask. Which means it's up to you to create the space, the playfulness, and the confidence to bring it into reality. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into next. So here we are. You now know why this technique is his deepest craving, the psychology of surrender, the visual fantasy, the rhythm and anticipation, and the emotional anchor that makes it unforgettable. But now comes the real question, how do you actually bring this into reality? Because let's be honest, even if a man fantasizes about it, even if it's the one thing he secretly begs for, he's never going to ask for it directly. He won't sit you down and say, hey babe, could you do it like this? Why? Because he's terrified of killing the mood, terrified of sounding demanding, terrified of exposing that raw part of himself. So if you wait for him to ask, it's never going to happen. That's why you, as the woman, hold the keys. You're the one who can unlock it. But how do you do it without it feeling awkward, without it sounding like a porn script, and without worrying if you'll do it wrong? The answer is simple. You introduce it through playfulness. 5. How to introduce it without awkwardness. Here's the truth. Sexual confidence is rarely about being perfect. It's about being playful. Men don't need you to know every single move or technique. What they crave is your willingness to try, your willingness to laugh, your willingness to own the moment. So instead of thinking, what if I mess up? Think, what if I just have fun with this? For example, when you're in an intimate moment, you don't need to make a big announcement. You can start small, tease him, drop hints with your touch, with your eyes, with a cheeky comment that lets him know you're about to do something that will drive him crazy. You could whisper something like, you have no idea what I want to do to you right now. That alone will make his imagination run wild. Then when you take control, he'll be stunned, not just because of the act itself, but because you had the confidence to initiate it. Men crave that confidence. They crave a woman who can take the lead in those moments. Because as much as he wants to feel like the strong one, he also secretly wants to feel like he belongs to you. And here's another secret, you don't have to nail it on the first try. The most powerful moments in intimacy aren't about technique, they're about energy. If he feels that you're enjoying yourself, if he feels that you're loving the power you have over him, if he sees that sparkle in your eyes, he's already hooked. That's why men beg for this technique, not just for the physical sensation, but for the emotional electricity that comes with it. The laughter, the teasing, the power shift, the intimacy. So don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze whether you're doing it right. Instead, focus on the connection. Focus on the way he's reacting. Focus on the tension you're building, the surrender you're drawing out of him, the memory you're carving into his mind. That's what makes it unforgettable. The grand conclusion, here's what I want you to remember. Men are simple in some ways, yes, but when it comes to their deepest desires, they're layered. They want more than just a physical release. They want surrender. They want to be teased. They want to see you own them visually. They want to feel emotionally anchored, safe in your acceptance of their most vulnerable fantasies. And above all, they want you to be the one who has the courage to bring it into the light. Because here's the truth. The Phi 1 oral technique men secretly beg for isn't just about his body. It's about his heart. It's about his mind. It's about the part of him that's never been seen, never been touched, never been fully accepted. And when you're the woman who gives him that, you don't just turn him on, you own his desire. You become the one he compares every other experience to. You become the memory that lingers long after the moment ends. So the next time you're together, Don't just think about the act. Think about what it represents. Think about the power you have not just to please him, but to transform the way he sees you. This is how you make him crave you. This is how you make him addicted to you. This is how you build intimacy so deep he'll never forget the woman who gave him both pleasure and acceptance in the same breath. And listen, this isn't about being perfect. This isn't about comparing yourself to some deal. It's about confidence. It's about willingness. It's about play. When you bring those things into the bedroom, you don't just master one technique, you master the art of intimacy itself. So be bold, be playful, be confident. Because the truth is, the sexiest thing you can ever do for a man isn't just in the way you touch him, it's in the way you make him feel while you're touching him. Desired, accepted, completely undone. That's what makes you unforgettable. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with something important, because it's not enough to just listen and nod along. If you truly want to transform your love life, if you truly want to become the woman that men not only crave in the bedroom, but cherish in every part of life, then you have to keep feeding yourself this knowledge. You have to keep learning these truths that most women never hear. And that's what I'm here for. Every single day, I'm pulling back the curtain on how men really think, what they secretly want, and how you can create not just attraction, but devotion. Attraction is easy. Any woman can get attention for a moment, but devotion, making a man addicted to you, loyal to you, unable to imagine being without you, that takes skill, that takes insight, that takes knowing what really makes him tick. And that's why I don't want this to be the last time you and I talk, because if you stop here, you'll miss out on all the strategies, all the psychology, and all the intimacy hacks that can take your relationships to a level you didn't even think was possible. So here's what I need you to do. Subscribe right now. Don't wait. Don't put it off, because the longer you wait, the more you risk falling into the same patterns that have held you back in love before. And I don't want that for you. I want you to thrive. I want you to feel desired. I want you to wake up every day knowing exactly how to keep the man you want obsessed with you in the best way possible. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and join this journey with me. Because I promise you, if you stay with me, if you keep showing up here, if you keep applying what you learn, your love life will never be the same again. So subscribe now, and let's keep building the intimacy, the passion, and the relationship you truly deserve. And before I let you go, I want you to remember something powerful. Everything we've talked about today, the surrender, the teasing, the rhythm, the confidence, it all comes down to one simple truth. Intimacy is never just about technique. It's about energy. It's about the courage to show up fully, to let go of self-doubt, and to trust that you are enough. Most people hold themselves back. They tell themselves, I'll try this when I feel more confident. I'll be bolder when I know exactly what to do. But here's the secret: confidence doesn't come first. Action does. Confidence comes from being willing to play, to experiment, to laugh, to be imperfect, and still show up. That's what makes you magnetic. Not flawless execution, not memorized steps, but presence, energy, vulnerability. So the next time you're with him, don't just focus on what you should or shouldn't do. Focus on the feeling you want to create. Do you want him to feel powerful? Do you want him to feel surrendered? Do you want him to feel cherished, desired? Then lean into that energy. Your body will follow. Because when you bring that kind of fearless playfulness into intimacy, you're not just giving him pleasure, you're setting a new standard for your relationship. One where he looks at you and thinks, she gets me in ways no one else ever has. And that, more than any single technique, is the real reason he'll never stop craving you. So go and be bold. Go and surprise him. Go and take these secrets and make them your own. Because you don't just deserve a relationship where you're wanted. You deserve a relationship where you're unforgettable.